What's going on, everybody? FYB presents the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel. If you're not already following, hit that subscribe button. I'm your host, Joe Spite. I represent the Fresh, and I got two co-hosts here with me, my man E and my man's Ant. Right now, we're gonna chop it up, man. We got some good topics, y'all know. With the Huddle Up, we're gonna talk about a couple of things that we've been discussing. It's been some crazy things in regards to sports that's happening right now. So listen, first off, how y'all feeling today, gentlemen?
I'm good. I'm feeling
I'm
good,
feeling
man.
lovely. You can play.
Feeling
No
good.
doubt. No doubt. Yeah. We usually record this on Tuesdays, but we have some technical difficulties. So we're going to, thug it out today on a Friday. So for y'all that's you ain't got nothing to do, feel free to tap in with us. We do got some folks on the IG live. I see JD Raven. I see Steve is in there too as well too. Looks like Chris Fit joined as well. So we got a couple folks that's looking at the IG live. Definitely hit that subscribe button on the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel. If you're not already doing so, you can catch this content. You'll get some notifications as well. But let's just jump right into it because it's been, like I said, a crazy week in regards to sports. Let's get into the first topic, man. The Jets, they decided to fire head coach Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start this year. And I feel like this man has been scapegoated. I don't like it. I don't understand it. I know I've been watching, Sports Center and ESPN and Fox, different news, sports outtakes and stuff like that on it. But I wanted to get y'all's take. But I also have my own opinion that I, said in the chat that he was a scapegoat. But let's start with you, E. What's your thoughts on Robert Saleh getting fired from being the Jets head coach after a 2-3 start?
I feel like I see both sides of it. I think it is a very unfortunate situation, but like I said, I see both sides. I see where the owner is.
Looks like you muted your mic, bro.
You guys hear me?
There we go.
Yeah, I just said I see both sides of it. I see Salah's side. I see the fan base's side. I see the owner side, and feeling like maybe they could have been playing better. They could have been doing better. Obviously, at 2-3, that's not the start that they wanted, but they're still right in the thick of things in the division. Obviously, with Buffalo dropping their last two, so I kind of see both sides of it. I think it's an unfortunate situation, but when you bring in Aaron Rodgers and you have the defensive talent that they have, there's not a chance in hell that your owner's going to kind of sit around. So they're going to want results. So I think Salah's been there for a couple of years. I know the quarterback situation hasn't been the best, but when you look around the league, other coaches have experienced some of the same things with quarterbacks getting injured. Obviously, in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins went down. They were still a respectable and competitive team. So there's not a lot of excuses to be had, but I kind of see both sides of the coin with Robert Saleh.
All right, Ant, what's your take, man?
Uh, I mean, I just think Saleh wasn't good enough. There was the situation where I felt like his hands were tied behind his back with quarterbacks. Um, the franchise has pretty much been handed over to Aaron Rodgers. He had a problem with Zach Wilson, and you can remember there was a press conference last year where they asked him about it, and he couldn't even really get his words out of why Zach Wilson was still starting and why they didn't go somewhere else. So at that point, yeah, you were kind of handcuffed. At the same time, you have to understand with any job you have, especially an NFL job, this could be the last one that you get. So if you're going to do it, you need to do it your way. And I feel like he kind of half stepped and half approached it. There was a situation where he called out Aaron Rodgers for going to Egypt instead of being at OTAs. And then, Aaron Rodgers had it cleared with the owner, but he didn't have it cleared really with the coach. And then you have this situation where even this season where Aaron Rodgers is talking about, the hard counts and, hey, you guys, maybe we hold guys accountable, and Salah saying that we shouldn't do it. So it just seemed like he had things that he wanted to say. He had things that he wanted to implement that he wasn't allowed to, or he felt that he couldn't. But if that's the situation, you shouldn't take the job. And just on his side of the ball, I saw a lack of adjustments. The Niners game sticks out, first game of the season. There wasn't any adjustments offensively and defensively. And at the end of the day, it falls on you. So I do think his hands were tied behind his back, but I do think the adjustments weren't there either.
So my perspective is I feel like he's a scapegoat. And this is my problem, honestly, in regards to sports, in regards to head coaches, especially head coaches of color. I hate that like they make these head coach or not make them, but they only give opportunities to these head coaches of color when it's a terrible opportunity, and then they're quick to fire you and say it's because of your record. When in reality, let's be real, the Jets had the top overall pick when he was the head coach because they were a bad team. They were a terrible team. And then they went and did all this stuff for Aaron Rodgers. And then he gets hurt in 4 plays. And so he has to go the rest of the season with Zach Wilson that we all know is terrible. And so they're using that as, well, look at his record. But he had 16 games with Zach Wilson when Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be his quarterback. And then this year he comes in and he's 2-3, but they're second in the division. So, and you still have an opportunity to take the lead in your division. So I don't understand how using him as a scapegoat because, oh, well, look at how bad they're doing. Bro, you keep the same offensive coordinator. Oh, and Steve is in the chat. He just said facts and stay a coordinator until you find a solid situation. I feel you. I feel you on that. Definitely. But my thing is you keep the same offensive coordinator. And then you say, oh, we're going to get rid of his play calling decision making and give it to somebody else. And then we add a new defensive coordinator to be, or not a new defensive coordinator, but we add your defensive coordinator and let him be the interim head coach. If Saleh was an offensive guy and he was the head coach and the offense was stagnant and was not doing well with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, all right, I'm willing to understand more likely or more of that perspective. I'm willing to say, okay, I'll give you that. But saying he has a bad record, saying that the team isn't performing well, they're second in the division. So not performing well according to who, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just, for me personally, I hate it that he's been scapegoated as the reason. And you didn't even give this man an entire season with the quarterback that y'all spent all this time and money and energy and resources to go get last year because he got injured in 4 games. I get tired of seeing it. I don't like the fact that they scapegoated him. Give him a real opportunity, right? When he has a real opportunity to be successful, then if he would have had this entire season with Aaron Rodgers and they don't, you know what I'm saying, they don't even make the playoffs or they lose in the wild card, then I got a reason to be like, all right, cool, you can fire him. But giving him 5 games with Aaron Rodgers is just unfair in my opinion.
Well, my only rebuttal to that is I would say is, what if you're the owner and you're sitting there and you say, okay, well, let's kind of look at what happened last season and let's look at similar situations around the league. Okay, let's take, for example, the Browns. Deshaun Watson got hurt. They played, I believe, 4 different quarterbacks last season and still made it to the playoffs. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers situation. Kenny Pickett got hurt during the season, and even when Kenny Pickett returned, they went through the quarterback carousel, playing Mason Rudolph, playing Kenny Pickett, playing all of these different guys. They still make the playoffs. You go and you look at the Indianapolis Colts. Last year, Anthony Richardson goes down. Obviously, with you being a Raider fan, you see Gardner Minshew up close and personal. You see that the Colts were all the way to the last game of the season. It was win or go home versus the Houston Texans. Obviously, they lost the game. They didn't make the playoffs, but it just sheds light on the fact that they were competitive all the way up until the last game of the season. They were in the playoff race. The Minnesota Vikings, how many injuries did they have at quarterback? Kirk Cousins went down. Nick Mullins went down. Jaron Hall got hurt. Josh Dobbs was benched. They had a quarterback carousel, and they were still ultra competitive the whole season. So I look at it from the owner's standpoint. He said, hey, look, you're not the only person that were dealt those similar cards and were dealt a situation where adversity hit you hard, right? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers went down in 4 plays, but this is dating back to last season. There were plenty of times last season the team was not competitive, didn't look prepared, and you are the person leading the ship. So I don't think it just has to do with this season. I think it's the totality of the circumstances. And that's why I said I can see both sides. I would have loved to see him finish out this season to see what he would have been able to do. But I just look at all of the other factors that are involved with that.
But here's what I'll say, right, in regards to just to rebuttal that. In none of those circumstances did they have an MVP type quarterback. None of those circumstances did they have an elite level quarterback. And that starting quarterback went down. All those other circumstances, the quarterback was the questionable issue in the first place. So that's why I'm saying I don't think those are necessarily relatable, because Deshaun Watson is not an all-star quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Pickett is not an all-star quarterback. You know what I mean? Like all these other issues that we're talking about, it's not the same. You didn't build an offense around Deshaun Watson. That offense was already there. That running back was already there. The receivers were already there. Same thing in Pittsburgh. They didn't build an offense around Pickett. The running back was already there. They drafted him in the first round. They knew what they were doing. They built an offense literally around Aaron Rodgers. They got all of the people that he wanted. It was his offensive coordinator. It was his receivers. They used everything that they could to get him there. So to me, it's not fair that you build up this situation specifically for Aaron Rodgers, and then he goes down, and you know how bad Zach Wilson is, and he's your starting quarterback, and you don't make it to the playoffs. And let's be real, they're in a tough spot compared to a lot of these other players, you know, a lot of those other teams. So I just don't think it's a similar comparison, because Zach Wilson or Aaron Rodgers was literally the foundational piece, whereas to all those other players, all those other teams you mentioned, you could have pick and plugged any quarterback and they would have done somewhat okay. The team wasn't built around that quarterback. You know what I mean?
I think that would be a fair assessment if Zach Wilson was a quarterback that they picked up off the street and he wasn't there in OTAs and minicamp and training camp. Zach Wilson was there. I mean, it would be malpractice as a coach if you're not getting your backup quarterback ready to play. Right. That's why the backup is there. It's not like we're playing Madden or NBA 2K with injuries off. That's why depth is a big thing in sports. Right. So as the head coach, you have to make sure the backup is ready. Whether or not the offense is built around Aaron Rodgers and it's his offensive coordinator and it's guys from Green Bay, Lazard, Randall Cobb, whoever was there, the backup quarterback has to be ready to play. And all I'm saying is that maybe the situations are not identically similar, but what my point is that Robert Saleh wasn't the only coach to face adversity last year. There were a lot of coaches who faced adversity,
but it's different levels.
I think when you start talking about coaches who plan to play 3 and 4 quarterbacks at a time and were still able to make the playoffs, still able to rally their teams and still be ultra competitive week to week. I mean, the Browns were winning games with DTR and Tyler Huntley, right? It's hard for me for anyone to say, okay, DTR and Tyler Huntley are so much better than Zach Wilson. I just think the coach has a lot to do with preparation, bringing your guys together, knowing what you have on your roster and getting those guys ready to play. I see both sides of it. I'm not saying that Robert Saleh is all at fault, but what I am saying is that from the owner's perspective, I could see how he could say, hey, this is not just this season. Last season, we were non-competitive. We weren't a good team, right? Why is that? Okay, your quarterback went down, but look at a lot of other situations around the league where a lot of other quarterbacks went down. They were still competitive. So I just think that's of it.
I hear you. Again, I hear you. And I just think that you know, again, Steve in the chat, he said Nathaniel Hackett has been bad for a minute now as a play caller. I agree. I just think, you know, when it comes down to it, again, I feel like it's unfair. If he was an offensive coordinator that became a head coach and the offense is the reason they were struggling, I get it. The defense has been solid. They're not struggling because of their defense. They were struggling because of their offense, and it was the quarterback. That's the reason. They fixed that issue in the offseason 2 years ago. And then their quarterback that was a starter got hurt. This season, he's 2-3. And the quarterback is the reason why they're 2-3. Let's keep it 100. It's not like the quarterback wasn't the reason. That's all I'm saying. It'd be different if they were putting up 40 points a game on, or people was putting up 40 points a game on them. All right, your defense is weak. It's trash, but that's not what it's been.
I'm just saying that when we look around the league, right, and I'm sorry to keep using Pittsburgh as a point of reference, but you look at Pittsburgh's situation last season, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, these are guys who are backups now in the league. They're not starters. Kenny Pickett is not an NFL starter today. Mason Rudolph, maybe with the Titans, who knows? But they're not starters. The Pittsburgh Steelers also fired their offensive coordinator during the season, Matt Canada. So my point is, the point that I'm ultimately trying to make is that Robert Saleh wasn't the only person to experience adversity in his tenure, right? With the Jets. There are a lot of coaches who experience adversity and they make do with what they have, right? And they make sure that their team is ultra competitive and prepared and ready to play because they understand that injuries are a part of the league, right? I always hear Michael Lombardi make a joke that Bill Belichick would say, "Well, tell me when injuries are going to happen, so and then I won't play the guy that week." Right? You don't know when they're going to happen, so I just don't think in Robert Saleh's position, where your team has never really been ultra competitive, that your owner is going to allow you to say, "Hey, okay, well, I missed my starting quarterback all last year. Okay, and this year we're 2-3." I just don't think. I just again, I just see where Woody Johnson is coming from. I see both sides. That's not to say that Robert Saleh should have been fired, but I do see the owner's perspective on the matter.
And you want to jump in and say
I mean,
anything?
at the end of the day, yeah. Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, a great woman once said, "Deserves got nothing to do with it." Shout out to Snoop on the wire, but um, deserve, it is what it is. You know, Steve said earlier that, hey, if you're a black coordinator, you should wait till the right job comes. And Byron Leftwich tried to do that. Remember, he got offered the Jacksonville job. He turns it down because of previous people having issues with the GM, and he's not even in the league anymore. So sometimes you just got to jump on the iron as hot, especially if you're a minority candidate. That's just a fact of the numbers. But I will say that with Saleh, um, you know, I will say we do have to. I'm more on the side that he was being held back. For example, last season when they had that disastrous injury, they couldn't even sign anybody because Aaron Rodgers was thinking that he could come back. Remember? He's thinking I can make history and come back from Achilles injury in the same season. So there was a lot of dysfunction there. We have to put that in. And I think that he's the type of guy with the way that he's loved in the league. He has a very upbeat demeanor. He kind of reminds me of Dan Campbell with the Lions. I remember Dan Campbell, his first stint was in Miami. He got a job. He got a chance to coach in Miami, and and now he's Detroit coach. So I think he's actually the type of guy that might get a second chance.
All right, and you froze, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop you back down. Hopefully you can get your sound fixed. But E, you wanted to say something else?
No, that's pretty much it. Like I get what Ant is saying, referring to not deserving and deserving and things of that nature. Like I said, I just see both sides of the coin. I think that I would have liked to see Robert Saleh finish out the year and see what the Jets could have done. See if they could have rallied. I think that they were ultra competitive in the Minnesota Viking game. Minnesota being 5-0, they had every chance to still win that game, even with 3 turnovers. So I would have liked to see him finish, but it is what it is. I wish Robert Saleh the best, and I think he will land on his feet as a defensive coordinator somewhere next year.
No doubt. And Steve said, where do you think Robert Saleh lands? Does he go back to being a DC? You pretty much just answered that. So yeah, but do you have an idea where you think he's gonna be?
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being a defensive coordinator somewhere, and he can go back to his roots and go back to doing what he does best. But I think also coming back as a defensive coordinator and watching another head coach, it kind of lets you kind of self scout yourself and see the mistakes that you made in a different light. Now that you're not, calling the plays or calling the shots as the lead dog, as the head coach. So I think Robert Saleh will land on his feet and he will learn from it. Obviously, we see coaches get fired all the time, and the next time they get their next job, they excel with flying colors. So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, he's gonna be able to bounce back. But one of the things that kind of frustrate me with I'm gonna mute you because I'm getting that feedback again. But one of the things that kind of frustrates me with, like I said, people of color, coaches of color, especially this happened with Robert Saleh. This happened with the Silas that was a head coach of the Houston Rockets. This happened with what was the coach for that used to be the coach of Phoenix? Now is it Williams, Coach Williams that was over Phoenix,
Monty
and
Williams.
Monty Williams. You know what I'm saying? Where they have these great opportunities, these great positions to be successful, and then something goes wrong, and then they fire them or they put them in a position to just take on terrible jobs, lower their record, because Monty Williams had a dope winning record when he was with Phoenix, and then all of a sudden now he's on Detroit, and Detroit stinking up the joint, and they're going to say if he doesn't get a job after this, they're going to be like, oh, well, look at his record, that's why. When in reality, no, you never set that man up for success. You kept putting that person in a position to always have a losing record or to always be failing, and then you use that against them. But at the same time, if you're a somebody like you said, like Byron Leftwich, who's like, let me wait. You know what I'm saying? I think that was Ant that said it. Let me wait and then try to get a job when it's right. But at the same time, you might not never get an opportunity anymore. So me personally, like, I get tired of seeing coaches of color in sports take on these opportunities, build it up like the way Tony Dungy built up the Buccaneers, and then they take you away and then they support somebody like the same way, you know what I'm saying, Coach Jackson built up the Golden State Warriors, you know what I'm saying, and they take you away and then they bring in somebody else that's kind of seemed as a savior, allow them, you know what I'm saying, then they do well and they be like, oh, he's a great coach. And it's like, nah, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, like Tony Dungy built that Super Bowl team. You know what I mean? Regardless of John Gruden's record, regardless of how many times, how John Gruden won, Tony Dungy built that team. And then my boy Tay is in the chat now. He said, speaking of Saleh, do we think that maybe teams are just jumping too fast at offensive, defensive coaches? Niners being poached on coaches the last like 3 or 4. Miami coach. I mean, that's a good perspective too. What's your thoughts on that, E?
Like I said, I just think that Saleh had been there for so long. It's not like he's a second-year coach. He's been there for what, 3-4 years now?
3 years.
3 years, 4 years now. So it's tough, right? And I think, based on the talent level and the expectation of the team, right? I think what does suck is that they're not even out of it, right? If they win this week and they beat the Bills, they're right at the top of the division. So I think that it's an unfortunate situation, but I just, like you said earlier, every situation is different because every owner is different.
No doubt. Well, let's move on because we done spent almost a half an hour talking about Robert Saleh. I know we got a couple more subjects to hit. Vikings and Chiefs still undefeated, man. Which one is Super Bowl ready right now? My personal opinion, I actually think it's the Vikings, because the Chiefs, for some reason, they're not playing like a 5-0 team. They look actually like they should have a couple of losses. I feel like, which is crazy that I'm saying with Sam Darnold, the Vikings are the Super Bowl ready team, which is wild to me. But what's your thoughts? Who are you thinking?
I'm going to lead with the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I think they've been there and they understand how they want to play now. I think last year in December, when they had that loss to the Raiders, obviously they started to change the way they played. They ran the ball more. They took a little bit off of Patrick Mahomes' plate and they're leaned on their defense. And I think that's what they're doing again this year. They're leaning on their defense. They're running the ball. They're picking their opportune times to attack in the passing game. So I'm always going to go with the best quarterback in the league. And obviously, in my opinion, the best coach in the league who's been there at the top of the mountain 3 times. So I just think that the Chiefs are in a situation. If you're a Chiefs fan, you have to rejoice because you're going to be there every year. You're going to be in a situation where you're in the spot to compete. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs 100% because they got the best quarterback and the best coach in the league, and they've been to the mountaintop twice.
3 times. They got 3 champs, right?
Yes, 3 times, but twice, 2 times in the last 2 years.
Right. No, so I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I'm a Raider fan. I'm hating on the Chiefs. Of course, they have the better team. So I'm just throwing some shade. But I will say that, especially, I want to give a huge shout out to Kareem Hunt. You know what I'm saying? I know, like, my man is he's really supposed to be a Super Bowl champion already. But, he had a situation where he ended up getting, kicked off the Chiefs and ended up going to the Browns. But I'm glad he's back with Kansas City, and hopefully he gets a chance at another to win a Super Bowl, with them this year. But yeah, they're definitely the best team. But It's always fuck the Chiefs. Straight up, Raider Nation. I don't care.
Yeah, and for the what I'll say about the Vikings really quick is that the Vikings are in a great spot this year. Obviously, the NFC is not, what a lot of people thought. With some of the powerhouses not being, what people thought. Obviously, Green Bay won last week, but you look at a team like Philadelphia, they've had their struggles. You look at the Cowboys, they've had their struggles. The Niners have definitely had their struggles. So the NFC is wide open this year. So if this is the year that the Vikings can keep it all together, this could be a year where, we're sitting here talking about these two teams. It could be a Super Bowl preview.
The Vikings, let's be real. Come on. It's the Vikings. I real talk. We literally watched them go 6-0 and finish 8-8. Like, I want to hear. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to put my money on the Vikings, bro.
No, but I just look at their team, right? And I look at Kevin O'Connell, and he's a guy last year, right, where we were just talking about when we were talking about Robert Saleh, to not go backwards, but he was going through the quarterback carousel. Kirk Cousins goes down. Jaron Hall goes down. Nick Mullins is stinking up the joint. Josh Dobbs comes in, plays well for a game or two. Then he begins stinking up the joint, and now they're going back to quarterback carousel. So I think that Kevin O'Connell still had his team competitive, so it doesn't surprise me that they're off to this fast start. Aaron Jones came in. Aaron Jones still has a lot of juice left, and they're still missing TJ Hawkinson. So I think that they're a very good team. Their defense is good, and Brian Flores is calling the hell out of the defense. So I think they're a real team. I don't think that there's any fluke involved in it.
Yeah, they won't be in the Super Bowl. We'll see in the playoffs. Speaking of that, best NFL coach of all time. List your top 3. Go.
We got to go with Big Red Andy Reid. I'm going to go with him number 1. I'm definitely going to go with Bill Belichick as my number 2, and my number 3 is up for debate. But those are going to be my top 2 coaches. The reason why I put Andy Reid over Bill Belichick is because we've seen Andy Reid do it with a multitude of different quarterbacks and be able to kind of climb that mountaintop and have successful teams. He went to the playoffs with Michael Vick. He went to the playoffs with Jeff Garcia. He went to the playoffs with AJ Philly. He went to the playoffs with Donovan McNabb, got to multiple NFC championship games with Donovan McNabb, got to a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, wasn't able to seal the deal, but goes over to Kansas City, has success with Alex Smith, obviously gets Patrick Mahomes, and has 3 Super Bowls to show for it. So I just think, Belichick does have 7. And I think that Belichick doesn't get the respect that he deserves. I think it's widely kind of overrated to say that, it's all Tom Brady. Yes, Tom Brady's the GOAT, and Tom Brady's a special quarterback, and we'll probably never see nothing like him ever again. But I do think that Bill Belichick is a part of that. Bill Belichick was a great coach. But if I'm going to go with the best coach of all time, it's going to be Andy Reid.
All right. So I say number 1, Bill Belichick. I think you got 6 Super Bowls. You've done it with Tom Brady. You've made the playoffs with Case Keenum. You've made the playoffs with Drew Bledsoe. You've made the playoffs with a lot of different folks. And
wait. When did he make the playoffs with Case Keenum?
When they went 11-5.
That was Matt Castle. And they didn't
Matt Castle, my bad. Not Case Keenum. I'm sorry, Matt Castle. I apologize. Good catch. I'm thinking of the State Farm commercial. My bad. Or I think that's the State Farm commercial of that, where he's like backing up. He comes in the backup. But anyway, yeah, Matt Castle. I apologize. Bill Belichick has definitely done well, and I think that one of the most important things about Bill Belichick too is that he wasn't just a head coach; he was also like the GM as well. So he was making a lot of the different decisions in regards to player personnel, and he's always made sure that defense was on top. Period. Like whoever he had. From an offensive perspective, he made sure his defense was in the top no matter what. So that's why I say Belichick is number 1. And I feel like he's been getting a lot of disrespect because Tom Brady went over to the Bucks and made the Super Bowl, or made it to the Super Bowl. And I think personally, the fact that what's his name? What's the quarterback for the Bucks now that's playing? What's his name? Mayfield. Yeah, the fact that Baker Mayfield is doing so well with them tells me just how dope the rest of his players are, because Baker Mayfield is trash. So
I don't know if Baker Mayfield is trash.
Whatever, you could say whatever you want. He's trash. This is his 3rd team in 3 years, basically. He's trash. So so the fact that he's actually still made it to the playoffs with them tells me that clearly that team was really, really good, really, really well built. I tell you what, Baker can't take the Patriots this year to the playoffs. I bet you that. Baker Mayfield ain't doing that. He's trash. But the fact that he's not, Jameis Winston trash is, they're able to make the playoffs last year. And so that's why I think Tom Brady was able to.
You can't just keep calling all these
I'm
quarterbacks.
just saying, listen. Again, when I say trash, I mean respectfully in regards to compared to other NFL quarterbacks. I know Baker Mayfield is killing me on the football field for sure. But I'm just saying in regards to that, like the fact that when they needed Tom Brady to be Tom Brady that next year and they went 8-9, I think that, really says a lot, so, but again, it is what it is. We'll move on. But I said Bill Belichick. I'm gonna give Andy Reid his love for sure. I definitely think he's up there. My third is kind of a toss up between Mike T and John Madden. You feel me, for obvious reasons, but I definitely think Mike T deserves his respect. You feel me? Like the fact that one, he's been a head coach for so many years now with Pittsburgh. He's done it, even though he did it, with Big Ben a couple times. I respect that, but I still think that what he's been able to accomplish in Pittsburgh is just unreal, in my opinion. And he gets the best out of his players. He obviously had, some elite players on his team, but he's also been able to do it with not the most elite quarterback, but still make the playoffs. So I want to give Mike T his credit. And then Raiders, let's go, baby. John Madden. Play Madden, then it's the Raiders. Come on now.
I don't have all the information in front of me, but what I will say on the coaching debate, one of the main reasons why I give Andy Reid the leg up over Bill Belichick is their coaching trees. I think that's a big, big, big thing, right? I don't think if you go down and we look at the list of the people who come from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, a lot of them have not had success in the NFL as of yet. Whereas Andy Reid has guys who have won the Super Bowl, Doug Peterson, we got the Harbaugh with the Ravens. You have a lot of guys who were under Andy Reid that have had a lot of success in the NFL. So Andy Reid's coaching tree is a little bit wider than Bill Belichick and is a little bit more successful than Bill Belichick. So I also will give Andy Reid points for that.
My man Tay said, how is Belichick's cheating just pushed under the rug? It is absolutely not cheating. I think that's what makes him the best coach. He's able to cheat and get away with it. I mean, we got Deflategate, we got Spygate, we got the Tuck rule, we got all types of cheating.
But I mean,
I give it to him. That's the best cheater.
I think, it's the cheating part, the cheating aspect of it is tough, right? Obviously, if you're having unfair advantages that are causing you to have a leg up in the game, that definitely plays a part in it. But at the same time, I look at their rosters, even the years that they didn't go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, years that they were in the AFC Championship game playing Jabbar Gaffney, Rashae Caldwell, Antonio Brown, Mike Patton, playing receivers and tight ends who no one had ever heard of or, were way past their prime. I just got a lot of love for Bill Belichick. I just think that he did a phenomenal coaching job, and it's a shame how they chased him out in New England. I just think that, yes, that coaching, the cheating stuff does still matter. But I think overall, when you start to look at his tenure, was he cheating every year? No. Were they still successful a lot of those years? Yes.
No doubt. Yeah, Bill Belichick's definitely a cheater, but he's a cheater. So but I still, again, I respect the game. It's as long as you get away with it, it is what it is. So I ain't mad at you. Next subject, LeBron and Bronny, first ever father-son duo to play together in an NBA game. How you feeling about that, man? Does this make him the GOAT? I
mean, we'll save that topic for another day and time, but LeBron has been the GOAT. This does not make him the GOAT because he already was the GOAT prior to this. But I think this is just the cherry on top. Obviously, we've never seen that in the NBA, a father-son duo. I know that there's a lot of hate that Bronny's getting, which I'm still kind of confused about. I'm still scratching my head and trying to figure out how can anyone talk bad or hate about something about like this. But I think that, it doesn't make LeBron the GOAT because he was always the GOAT, but I'm just excited to see it happen. It sheds light to LeBron's longevity and his excellence and what kind of man he's been for the NBA and what kind of partner he's been for the NBA. So I'm just excited for him. I'm excited for Bronny, and I can't wait for them to get on the court together and have those moments together because it's going to be history. And I think, maybe years from now down the line, we'll have more appreciation for it than we do now.
Yeah, man. The LeBron James disrespect. We're gonna just do a whole episode one day about LeBron.
Please,
The
please.
disrespect that this man gets is insane. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know. My man Tay said, "Well, the hate is wondering if it's nepotism based on USC stats." He obviously was drafted to the Lakers because of nepotism, but he wasn't drafted because of nepotism. I'm gonna tell you now. The Warriors were supposed to draft Bronny James. We was looking at him like we gonna draft Bronny James. We made the phone calls. The only reason we didn't draft Bronny is because we respect LeBron and we knew that LeBron wanted to play with his son. That's the only reason. That's why the talks of bringing LeBron last year to the Golden State Warriors, that's why that big trade got talked about, because we were like, bro, we about to draft your son. Would you mind coming to play here with him? You know what I'm saying? So it definitely is nepotism that he got drafted to the Lakers, but not that he got drafted. Teams were already looking at him. He has some of the intangibles. He's going to be a solid role player if he continues to develop and grow. I love the fact that he's doing it. I just, the LeBron hate, the disrespect is just, it's crazy to me. The fact that somebody that can have such an amazing and outstanding career that people will like, I'm in a group chat with some of my OGs, and people are like, they're so stuck in their time and they like, yo, Jordan. And I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. That's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, I definitely am glad that he got a chance to experience this. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I think, people go back to the USC stats. Obviously, he had an injury. He missed half the season. And it's not all about stats because you have guys out there that are averaging 20, 23, 24 points a game in college and are not getting drafted every year. So I don't really think it all has everything to do with stats. A lot of some of it does have to do with nepotism. Some of it has to do with what they think his ceiling is. Some of it has to do with a lot of different factors. Let's be honest, LeBron's not the first person in the NBA to have a family member or sibling on the team alongside with them, where other players or other people in the media or around the league or the fan base feel like, hey, that person is not worthy or good enough to be on the roster. So this is not the first time that it happened. I just think that we need to sit back and kind of appreciate greatness and kind of wait and see. Bronny hasn't even got to play an NBA game. He hasn't even played a G League game yet. I know he played in Summer League, but Summer League is a whole different type of animal where you have so many guys on the roster and you're trying to get a look at everyone, a clear and thorough look to see if you want to move forward with this player in terms of giving them maybe a two-way or inviting them onto your G League team and things of that nature. So I think let's let him play for about 2 or 3 years and see what we really have in him as a player. But I'm just excited, and I think it's just a shame that we have just torn them down before we've even got to see what he can do as a player.
No doubt. And JD said Bronny is a branding investment. Anything associated with LeBron is a win for a team. I definitely agree. Anything associated with LeBron right now is a win for a team until he's no longer a player. And then when he's the owner, they're going to dog him out like they did Jordan too. Because that's everybody's going to hate him at that point. Last topic for the evening before I can go watch my Golden State Warriors. Hopefully they whooping the Sacramento Kings. High highs and low lows. E, what you got?
My high highs of the week, the Boston Celtic disrespect is still going on. I thought that it would stop at this point, but the disrespect, obviously we're going on another week, and another week of disrespect continues. You turn on your TV or you look on social media and they're still talking about how the New York Knicks are primed to go to the NBA Finals, or the Philadelphia 76ers are primed to go to the NBA Finals, and still there's no respect for the Boston Celtics. A lot of media personnel and a lot of not personnel, but personalities. A lot of people are not giving the Boston Celtics their due. So I would say again to them, thank you for the motivation. My low lows would be some of the teams that are underperforming in the NFL. It's kind of been a weird season, but one of the things that I can kind of appreciate is that no team has kind of pulled away. Obviously, the Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings are both 5-0, but some of the teams that we've kind of expected a little bit more out of, let's say a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, the San Francisco 49ers, it's not too late. They still have a lot of time and they can still make up that ground.
The Boston disrespect comment is crazy. Because I don't know if you know, but there was a owner's vote on what team had the best chance to go to the playoffs or go to the finals and win the championship. 83% of the owners said Boston. So I don't know what you talk about.
I mean, I don't know if you saw the comment. I saw a little clip of it of the what's the show on Netflix, Starting Five.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, and I believe someone retweeted something that I saw on Twitter about how Jason Tatum said that he wasn't sure if the media were trolling when they were saying that Dallas was going to beat Boston. He said he saw so many media members saying Dallas was going to win the NBA Finals and they were going to beat the Celtics in 5 games. Shout out to Nick Wright. That's what he said, Dallas in 5. By the time Boston wakes up and realizes that they're playing a real series, they're going to be down 3-1. Shout out to Nick Wright. I still remember that tweet where we're going to be down 3-1 by the time they open their eyes and realize they're playing real basketball.
Yeah,
so,
Nick Wright's an idiot. He also said that the Warriors season was done, or the Warriors career, the legacy was done, is what he said. The dynasty is done in 2019 after KD left. He said the Warriors will never win another championship ever again. So Nick Wright, shut up. K4 Solo said
the disrespect is high.
It was high. Hey, K4 Solo said F the Celtics. He said, fuck the Celtics. Lake Show Ninja, just like that. Your Neo.
But shout out to the Lakers, man. I grew up born and raised in LA, and I got a lot of love for the Lakers now because of LeBron. It wasn't always been that way. So
Go James.
I don't throw no shade or no hate the Lake Show's way. Obviously I got a lot of love for LeBron. Even I know I catch a lot of flack from even some Boston fans because I love LeBron and I celebrate his greatness. But I got love for the Lake Show because of LeBron.
I will say, for y'all that's in the comments, also don't forget to subscribe to the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel. You feel me? Like, because I like y'all comments. I be wanting to post them on the actual show so we can see it, so they can see it on the show. And I can't post it because of Instagram, but I can post it if you go onto the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel. You follow it when we're posting. You can comment on the YouTube channel, and I can actually show it on the show, so that way they can actually see it as opposed to me just reading your comments. I still appreciate the comments on the Instagram live. I appreciate y'all for joining and stuff, but just know, like, when you do it on the Wiser Wednesday YouTube show, I could post it on the actual show, on the YouTube channel. My high highs. Well, let me start with my low lows. My low lows is that my lost Oakland Raiders, we lost on Sunday, and I'm tired of it, man. Like, I was feeling really, really down. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it really frustrated me that my lost Oakland Raiders lost another game. I'm gonna mute you because I'm getting the feedback again. We lost another game, but then God said, and this is going straight into my high. Then God said, hold on, son. Don't forget how much I love you. And then I saw the Niners lost on Sunday. And I said, God is good. Yes, Lord. Shamananaya, Shadabahanda. The Niners lost. And I said, won't he do it? So I had a low, and just like that, I got picked back on up. Because God did it.
Let me ask you a quick question before we get out of here. Why do you feel like so much of the Raider fan base is split? When I talk to some of the fans in Raider Nation, some of the fans feel like, look, we're not a good team. We need to tear it down. We need to start rebuilding. There's no chance of this team being competitive in a playoff game or down the stretch in the season. And then I talked to some fans, I won't say any names, but they're like, hey, man, I still believe that this roster is capable of going 11-6 or 12-5. So Why are so many? Yeah, that's the truth, though. That you know that's not me making that up. There are fans out there that will tell you, "Hey, I still believe that this roster is capable of going 11-6 if we are healthy and we have all of our guys, we have all of our horses available to us. This is a team or a roster that's capable of going 11-6 or 12-5." Why do you think that is so split like that?
First off, let me address Joff's comment. He said you wrong for that. He said injured kicker did that. I agree. You know, y'all lost for a specific reason, but I'm gonna just say I'm still glad God did it because I was hurting and my spirits got lifted back up as soon as I realized y'all lost. I'll tell you the difference is because there are Raider fans and then there are people who are fans, but they're still realistic. See, people who are just like diehard, just Raiders everything, they gonna always think we're gonna make it no matter what. They from Oakland. You know what I'm saying? They came from the surviving the town. You gotta overcome a lot to still be alive. You feel me? So they from the town, so they got a different mentality. They like, listen, you don't understand. We done stepped over crackheads to get to school. Like it's not the same. So some folks is just really like they're so Raider fanatic that they don't get to really be objective. Remember, you know, we've had conversations where I'm in the they like Derek Carr is the man, and I'm like, no, he's not. They're like, yes, he is, or they like, you know what I mean? Like, so some people are just not realistic, and I'll be arguing with them too. Like, bro, if you think we're going 11-6 with this quarterback or any quarterback that we currently have on the roster, you're delusional. You're delusional. That's just what it is. I'm a realistic fan. I have no problem being objective. I have no problem looking at the facts. Some people just don't care about the facts. Some people just say, I bleed this color.
How do you feel like the fans that you talk to might say, hey, we dominated the game against the Broncos. We were in the red zone. It was 10-3 before Gardner Minshew throws the pick six to Patrick Surtain, even though the guy, I believe that was Brock Bowers, it looked like he was wide open. Minshew kind of threw it over his head. What do you kind of say to that?
I would say we lost. Does it? Does it? I don't care. I don't care. We lost. We scored 10 points in the first half and finished with 10 points, basically. Like, we lost. It's okay, bro. We got spanked. Not even like it wasn't even like a close game. We got spanked. We started off well and we finished terribly. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And we finished terribly. At the end of the day, bro, the goal is to win. And I actually like Antonio Pierce. You feel me? I hope he stays. I really does. I hope they don't fire him. I hope they give him a chance with a legitimate quarterback. But at the end of the day, bro, we lost. We got spanked. So we had no chance in that. I do want to address a couple comments. Tay said, as a Raider fan, do you allow Devontae to leave or not? Absolutely, bro. That man came over here with a top running back, the top tight end. He was a top receiver, and he had a decent quarterback. All of those are gone. All of them, except him. I'm sorry. Let that man leave. He did what he had to do. He had elite years with us. He's like, bro, I'm trying to win. Y'all not winning with this.
I think as a Raider fan, right, where you are, if you're just being assessing the situation with unbiased eyes, you obviously have to trade him at this point. When you start talking about where you're at as a team and where your roster is at, you have to get any kind of draft compensation or young player that you can get for him at this point at this stage in his career. Obviously, he wants out, according to the reports. Obviously, I haven't talked to him personally. I don't know him personally, but if he wants out, and where you're at as a team and an organization, he's 31, I think going on 32 or might be already 32. I would just trade him now and see what you can get for him. And it's not like you can't bounce back from that. You're obviously going to have the draft next year. You're going to have your opportunity in free agency. So you can still rebuild your roster, but it just doesn't make sense to hold on to a player that is unhappy who will probably ask for a trade again in the offseason. You might as well get what you can for him now.
Right, because if you wait to the offseason, now the most you can get is a third round pick, if that. Yeah, if that. So. Just trade him now. Hopefully you can get a second. Get rid of him. Joff said the Raiders only getting mental wins this season. I agree wholeheartedly.
He said mental.
Yeah, it's over. Like that's it. We don't stand a chance. We're not going anywhere. We're the weakest team in our division. Again, I'm a realistic Raider fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm a diehard Raider fan. I love my Raiders for sure. But I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna be real, bro. We suck. I said we sucked as soon as we didn't get a quarterback. Did I not? Did I not say?
No, you said it. You said it. You said it.
And they was like, "Nah, bro, Gardner Minshew, we just give him a chance." I said, "Bro, we know who Gardner Minshew is, bro.
No,
we know who he is." I said, "What did I say we should do? What did I say before the draft? What did I say we should do?
You guys should trade up.
We should trade up." And we didn't do that. And I said, "We're gonna regret it." And everybody said, "Well, just wait and see." Well, we've seen it. I mean,
obviously, Gardner Minshew is a stopgap. He's not a quarterback that you're leaning on and saying, "Hey, this is going to be our future." Obviously, he's been in 3 different places prior to Oakland. He was in Jacksonville, was with Philly, was in Indianapolis, and now he's coming over to the Raiders. I think Aiden O'Connell is a young guy, and I think the time is now. If Aiden O'Connell wants to kind of show himself, this is time, right? He probably won't ever get another chance like this ever again in his career. I don't want to say ever because I don't know the future, but this is a prime opportunity for him. If you want to show that you're that kind of quarterback, then hey, this is your opportunity. So, I mean, we'll see next year. You know, obviously, probably Shador is going to be out there. Quinn Ewers are going to be a couple of guys. So, I mean, the Raiders are going to have their pick for one of these younger guys, but it's unfortunate because this is Antonio Pierce's first year. So, I'm with you. Hopefully, you know, he doesn't get canned, and hopefully he gets to stay on for another season. He kind of gets the quarterback of his choosing.
No doubt, man. Well, those are the high highs and the low lows, man. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in that got a chance to comment and chat. Again, please subscribe to the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel so that you can post your your comments. I can post your comments on here. My man Tay, I do want to acknowledge his comment. He said convos are the best with only realistic fans. Yes, Niner fans are not realistic fans. They feel it's a quest for 6 with the way they are performing. Listen, I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt, because you're a Cowboys fan, and Cowboy fans are definitely not realistic either. So I'm gonna just say Cowboy fans are unrealistic. Niner fans are definitely unrealistic, and I will say I know some Raider fans that are just delusional. So,
and I know we're wrapping it up. I will just say really quickly, I think the Niner fans are in the same boat as Philly fans, and this is what I'm going to say to the Niner fans is that we both were on the doorstep, and we didn't cash in the last 2 Super Bowls, and I think that is going to come back and just haunt us. I think when you're in the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter who's your opponent, you have to win. You have to find a way to win that game. And we both were there at the mountaintop, and we didn't get it done. And I think the Eagle fans are still kind of feeling the sting from that Super Bowl. And I think as this season goes on, the Niners will start to feel that sting a little bit more and more.
Yeah, and I will say we dang near got to start thinking about Kyle Shanahan as one of the elite coaches to be able to take. I mean, he took Jimmy G to the Super Bowl. He took, Brock Purdy to the Super Bowl. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think you can make an argument. I guess he still has to win one first, but I'm just saying he's got to, because to me, I feel like Brock Purdy's average. I feel like Jimmy G's average. Both of those people are average at best, but they look like elite quarterbacks under his system. And I think that's the telling of a great coach as well, or at least a great scheme. Let me say that.
No doubt.
Cool, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Check us out. I think we're probably going to be back on Tuesday to talk about some more sports. We'll see what happens. Tay said, nah, elite for giving up leads for sure. D. Joffrey said average. I'm tripping. Here we go. See what I'm saying? The delusional. See what I'm saying? The delusion. They think Brock Purdy is better than average. Like, you just put Brock Purdy on any other team and he's going to take him to the Super Bowl. It's not happening. But anyway, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Check us out. Like I said, we might be back on Tuesday. Most likely, we're going to check out some games this weekend. Hopefully, when I look at this Warriors game, we winning. Just to let y'all know, in case y'all didn't, you feel me? Dub Nation. I know you love that hat. You feel me? I'm talking about we got a big dub on y'all. But I do respect the Celtics. They the champs. They the defending champs, and they the team to beat. I don't think that nobody's going to beat them this year. I think y'all's biggest issue is going to be after y'all win another championship this year. That's when I think it'll be a big issue when the salary cap starts to hit. But we could talk about that next week, too.
Yeah. For sure, no doubt.
No doubt, man. Appreciate y'all. We fresh as always. I love y'all. Y'all take care.